it happened. It happened. The token merger of Fed, AGIX, and Ocean is delayed for about a whole month. What now? Should we panic? Should we abandon ship? Hint, no, of course not. But we'll talk about it and we'll look at it and all the implications today. And of course, at all other important AI stories that came out in the last week. Including the new Apple updates that I found personally very underwhelming, but we'll look at that as well. But hello, everyone. Nice to see you here. I hope you're having a great day. And let's jump right into it. Oh, and by the way, I made a poll how you feel about the ASI merger. Let me know, and I'll hopefully remember to look at the poll later. But yeah, let's look at the first thing here, which is what happened yesterday. The ASI Alliance came out with this update here, telling us, oh, by the way, there's a revised timeline for the token merger. The revised date for the ASI token merger moving from June 13th to July 15th, so about a month later. This scheduled adjustment is necessary to accommodate the logistical requirements and technical dependencies of exchanges, validators, and broader ecosystem collaborators. So here we see already a lot of information that is important to understand this whole situation. The logistical requirements and technical dependencies of exchanges, validators, and broader ecosystem collaborators. Now, this is what Humayun Sheikh said, the CEO of Fetch AI. While the finalization of the ASI token merger is now scheduled for July, due to necessary adjustments by our partners, the commitment and vision driving this alliance remains stronger than ever. Our teams are actively working with centralized exchanges to finalize the remaining steps. So this statement sounds a lot to me like the exchanges basically effed it up and didn't properly prepare for everything. Now, We'll look at that more in depth. Of course, the communication around all of this is an issue for many people. There's a huge outcry. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Are you in the Telegram community? Are you in the Telegram community of the ASI Alliance? If yes, you've probably seen the huge outcry by everybody in there. Like the world is going under, the world is about to end. Yeah, it's a little bit... Anyway, but yeah, let's move on here. We have at the same time been advancing toward integration of our respective AI and blockchain technologies, says Ben Goertzel. And we'll look at a broader statement of Ben Goertzel, the CEO of the ASI Alliance, in just a second here. But yeah, let me have a quick look at the poll. 6 people watching already. Glad you're all here. And 75% say I'm all good, 25% say I'm panicking. Now, great to see that my community on here is a little bit more level-headed, right? We are all a little bit more chilled about all of this because we see the big picture, and this is really just a small hiccup. And we'll look at that with let me first X out of here. With what the admins and CEO Ben Goertzel said. When you're on the Telegram community, you see these things as well. So I have a few screenshots prepared for you here. The question is, should we panic? The answer is no, we should not panic. Now let's look at this here. Let me put myself up here and then let's go through this. So first, this is the admin of the official ASI Telegram community. And let's look through what he wrote yesterday. For whatever it's worth, we want to communicate more. Like, this was a huge issue for many people. And I also said, hey, a bit more communication would be great. But, and you'll see here, it's not just about them, right? There are many, many parties involved. We want to communicate more, but there are external considerations involved that prevent us from saying all we would like without following certain processes and timelines. So it's not just on them, right? It's the 3-way token merger, and it taking place on all the exchanges where these tokens are listed on. So there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of parties involved. So this is why communication is not that easy, because it needs to be properly managed between all the parties. As he says here also, we would like to communicate more, but there are certain processes and timelines that prevent us from communicating the way we would like to communicate this merger. We are very aware that this is damaging to community relations. Surely, by extension, you should be aware that we would not be delaying if it wasn't absolutely necessary. Right? They are aware. They are not stupid, right? They know this is now obviously not good for community relations. You see it in the chats. You see it in the outcry of people, which is a little bit overblown in my opinion, maybe understandable to some degree, but people really need to chill out and calm down. And if you are one of the person who said, oh, I'm panicking now, then let me tell you, if you're on crypto and this is shaking you and this is making you panic, then you probably should do a lot more research and should work on calming yourself, because a bull run when it really starts will look absolutely crazy, and you, well, let's say you will not have a chill time if you panic if something like this happens. So he goes on to say, unfortunately, both mergers and blockchain sometimes require silence when we would love to be loud. So yes, they would love to communicate more with us, but they cannot, because again, multiple parties are involved and they cannot communicate properly without following certain processes that accommodate all the involved parties. As from tech, let's read all of this here. To be honest, I would expect the opposite to be true, actually. As from the tech and marketing, we were ready to go as planned. So now we have a month to start sharing a load of interesting things. As you can see here, as from tech and marketing, they were ready to go. So another hint that tells us, hey, the exchanges have something up here. Or it's on somewhere in the process, there is something that doesn't work quite well, so they need to fix that, right? But from the tech perspective, they are ready to go. And this is freaking amazing. And we'll also see that in what Ben Goertzel wrote in just a moment. And now this I found very, very great what he said here also. People have every right to be annoyed. We are too. Right? They are annoyed too that this happened. It's not planned. They are not doing this on purpose. Right? They are annoyed too. And they see, yes, of course, people have every right to be annoyed. So I found this very, very authentic and a very, very great statement. So again, this is from the official Telegram group from the admin in there. Now let's move to the official statement of CEO Dr. Ben Goertzel and what he said also in the Telegram group. Let me put myself down here. So let's read through this whole statement here, because I know this is what interests all of you. Folks, I understand the delay in the merger date is frustrating, but I would encourage you to take a step back and look at this in perspective. Singularity Net team is working hard on a number of important initiatives, like scaling up OpenCog Hyperon AGI architecture, which we for sure want. Right, this is the main thing. If we are in the ASI Alliance, you're hopefully in the ASI Alliance not because we want our token to go up. This is one part of it, but mainly because we want the development of decentralized AGI and AI systems that are beneficial for all of humanity. So scaling up OpenCog Hyperon is crucially important, and much more important than a merger that can take place now, in a month from now, or in a year from now. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Integrating SingularityNet, Hypercycle, NuNet, Fetch, Ocean protocols to make an awesome, comprehensive, decentralized infrastructure for AGI, which is freaking amazing. Creating easy-to-use services for devs to use to pull LLMs ensembles and LLMs plus knowledge graphs plus reasoning ensembles on SingularityNet platform. And I'll address the chat in just a moment. I see you asking questions in there, but let me go through this first. Building a compute infrastructure combining SingularityNet Fetch supercomputers with global decentralized compute. The latter leveraging, again, SingularityNet, Fetch, Ocean, Hypercycle, and NuNet. So they are working in integrating all of this. Fetch and Ocean teams are working on their own important projects, and we are looking at various integrations. I just had a chat with Trent and a few others this morning e.g. on using predictor for electricity price, supply and demand predictions, which is a great addition, using SingularityNet and Fetch AI agents within predictor, which would be fantastic. Each of the 3 merging projects have a token whose main purpose include payment, incentivization, reputation, rating, etc. on their respective platforms. We are engaged in a huge effort to beat big tech government to create advanced AGI first, which is what we are all in for. We are all in here for the big picture. At least I know my community is in for that. And I hope if you are watching me for the first time today, you also see the big picture and are not just focused on your token price. Of course, we want our token price to go up. We all want to make a profit here. But what I want even more is to steer humanity in the right direction. This is really our shot at doing so, because we believe this is most likely to result in a beneficial outcome for humanity and its successors. Right? This statement here, absolutely crucial. We are merging our tokens because we believe this will give us the highest odds of succeeding in this effort over the next few years. Ray Kurzweil predicted that's a German name for sure, Kurzweil, okay, anyway, predicted human level AGI by 2029. And to me, this seems quite plausible. We might even beat his estimate by a couple years, 2029. In the future, I think in 2 weeks, I have a video coming out where I look at how likely or what is a objective timeline. When can we count on AGI? In 2 weeks, I have a video coming out where I talk about this and go in depth. Hint, I don't think it's that soon, but we'll look at that in 2 weeks. We might even beat his estimate by a couple years. And I suspect that once you get human level AGI, you're only a few years from radical superintelligence. The merging of the tokens is valuable largely because it provides a shared incentive mechanism across teams and communities. Yet, by merging tokens without fully merging organizations, as in a typical corporate merger, we will retain the creative diversity that comes from having smaller groups with their own perspectives and focus. And this is also a big part of the ASI Alliance. You still have the Fetch community, SingularityNet community, and the Ocean community building their own and bringing in their own ideas, which is fantastic for decentralized development of AGI. What a word, man. The participalities, crazy, I've never used this word before. I mean, I can think about what it means, but man. The participalities of merging the AGIX, FET, and Ocean tokens are complicated, mostly because not everyone uses hardware wallets and DEXs like I intend to. So there are various third parties involved. Again, Ben Gertz also talks about various third parties that are involved in order to do the token merger in a way that gives most token holders a good user experience. One needs to coordinate with these third parties. This coordination has resulted in some scheduled slippage on the token merger, as we see right now, 1 month. Because again, various third parties are involved. This is the issue here. Corporate mergers commonly have scheduled slippage too, for different particular reasons. So if you are in the tech space, you should know, if you have ever seen a tech company, there are always delays for everything. Maybe not for Apple. They are pretty good on keeping timelines, but everyone else, like there are delays everywhere. So this really is not that big of a deal. I understand it's annoying for some. I understand that, but still in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a deal. But there is a commonality with the present situation, and that the slippage is due to a lot of moving parts involving different people in different organizations. Right? We talked about this multiple times now. The slippage of the token merger date is certainly not what we wanted, but while the regret and the consternation it is causing some community members, I cannot help but view it as a pretty small blip on our path to building actual AGI. And this next statement is important as well. I also must observe there are likely to emerge significantly larger hiccups before we get to actual beneficial superintelligence. So now would be a good time for us all to practice a bit of calm and tenacity in the presence of inevitable bumps in the road. Right? Bumps in the road are inevitable. It will happen. Like building AGI is not an easy thing, especially when a lot of moving parts are involved. So there will be even more hiccups. This is to be expected. So we, as a community of the ASI Alliance who believe in the vision, for us, this hiccup is not that bad. For us, this is an opportunity to buy more, and this is to shake out all the weak hands. Because really, we don't necessarily want people in the community who are just there for the token price to come up. Because these narrative-driven hype people are not believing in the vision anyway. And it is expected for them to be shaken out when small hiccups occur. And like Ben Gertzel said, it's almost guaranteed that there will be a lot more and a lot larger hiccups on the way to building actual beneficial AGI. So yes, it's annoying. I understand that. And it's frustrating. And I'm also slightly annoyed. Like if you look at the poll, I fall into the category of, yes, I'm slightly annoyed, but at the same time, I also understand it, right? Hiccups are normal. It's the huge parties, and a lot of parties are involved, many moving parts, as he said. So there are a lot of considerations when communicating properly. This is why the communication sucks a little bit at the moment. I expect this to get a lot better when the token merger is over, because then it's just SingularityNet, Fetch AI, and Ocean, and then they communicate a lot better. But right now, there are many other parties involved. All the DEXs, all the centralized exchanges, you know what I mean? All of them. So there's a lot of communication that needs to happen there. So saying that, the answer to the question is, should we panic right now, is no. No, we should not panic right now. It looks okay. Of course, the hiccup is a little bit annoying. I understand that. But at the same time, have the big picture in mind, okay? Let's look at the big picture. We are here to build beneficial super intelligence, right? Not big tech, but we want to do that in a decentralized, democratized way. And this big vision is what we are all here for and why we support the ASI Alliance. And now let me finally address the chat. Hi there, Nani. Great to see you. Great to see you here. Where are my other people? Where are you? Damn, now I cannot remember the names. I'm so sorry. Where are you, Julie? And where are you, guy from Ireland? I'm so sorry. Brandon, that's your name. And Carlo, where are you? Anyway, good evening, Steve. I have seen you a couple of times here as well. Steve, bro. Sky, my apologies. I missed the first part of your stream. You may have already converted this. Did they provide a new projected timeline? Oh, yes, they provide a new projected timeline. Let me share that for you real quick again. Actually, I closed it, so I'll just tell you because I cannot find it right now. But yes, they said the merger will happen on the 15th of July. So in about 1 month, right? Lyron Gear was faster than I was. ASI strong, July 15th. Yes, exactly. To be completely honest, I'm less irritated with the delay and more with the lack of communication. Yes, the communication also was what is annoying me as well. But as I said, and as they have stated, the issue is that it's not just them. There are many different parties involved, and it needs to be properly communicated, and they cannot just blurt out stuff if it's not properly communicated with the third parties that is involved there. So that's why the communication is a whole issue there. So it's a bit annoying, but so be it. To be completely, Seattle, Washington. Oh, okay, from Seattle. A lot of people from the US. And what happened to my? Thank you. Most welcome. You're most welcome. Okay, great. Any other questions about the token merger, about the ASI Alliance, about any of that? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. I'll gladly answer them. Let me have a look at the poll. I'm all good, 60%. I'm slightly annoyed, 30%. I would also say, yes, I'm slightly annoyed by the lack of communication mainly, but I understand it. Right? Just because I understand it doesn't mean I don't have a right to be annoyed. Okay? I don't blame anyone. But still I'm a little bit annoyed about it. Okay? So, but I also understand it. And I'm panicking 10%. All right. Really happy to see my community to be much more level-headed. Like, if you have, let me know if you're on the Telegram group of the ASI Alliance. Like, in there, you would think like the world is collapsing. It's crazy in there. Yesterday it was. Like, today it has calmed down a little bit, but yesterday it was really world under, land under. It was not fun to be in there. All right. But in talking about the ASI Alliance, and some people were claiming, oh, you're losing trust and people see you as not reliable anymore. Let's look at a big partner of the ASI Alliance, which is the Telekom, the biggest telecommunications company in Europe, actually, and it's a German company. So, and it's a big partner of Fetch and the ASI Alliance, and they just very chilled say, important update, we are postponing our special announcement due to the delay merge. Powering the future AI, we are thankful to be a Fetch AI validator. The upcoming ASI Alliance merge with Ocean Protocol and Singularity Net is a landmark moment, and we strongly believe it will be one of the most significant collaborations in the field of artificial intelligence. And this is freaking big. Again, this is the biggest telecommunications provider. Here you see the Web3 infrastructure solutions in all of Europe. So this is big, and this is a partner of Fetch AI and fully believes in the ASI Alliance. And what they say about the hiccup in the merger timeline now is, well, whatever. Then we have our special announcement postponed, and we are announcing this then later. As you say here, they had this post where they announced, basically they announced an announcement, which are now delayed. But yeah, they don't seem worried about the merger at all. So don't buy into the FUD of the people who say, now everything is going down under, everything is going under, you are untrustworthy now, people view you as amateurs. No, right? As you see, this is a very big partner and they are completely chilled. So we can expect nothing really bad coming out of this delayed timeline. Just that, yeah, weak hands are shaken out. People we don't necessarily want to be in the tokens anyway. Is there anything big going on inside Singularity Net? Is there anything big going on inside Singularity Net? Well, there are many things that are big and going on in Singularity Net. Many things. But yeah, let's actually jump into our next story, which talks about Singularity Net and their recent. Actually, this is not. Yes, it is the right story. Where am I? I'm here. Okay, here we are. The recent recap of the Singularity Net platform meetup, strategic developments and driving innovations. And this was basically a meetup of all the important people in the Singularity Net ecosystem, all the important people in the whole ecosystem. And let's scroll down here. And they shared exciting progress on integrating Hyperon instances running via hypercycle computation nodes, leveraging NewNet for decentralized compute coordination. So they are making apparently massive progress in interconnecting all of that. As you know, Hypercycle is a decentralized blockchain where everything should run on. Hyperon, of course, is the AGI approach of Singularity Net, and NewNet is a decentralized compute framework. And integrating all of that is basically the most important thing at the moment. And as they say here, they are making huge progress with that. Integrating OpenClock Hyperon, NewNet, and Hypercycle protocols concurrently to create a powerful decentralized AGI tech stack. Developers, Hyperon Alpha has reached a stage where we can issue requests for proposals for developers to create small services in Meta. And this here is pretty cool. This initiative aims to build a comprehensive collection of Meta programs, which will eventually allow us to train and fine-tune LLMs to code in Meta. And this is big, because when LLMs can code in Meta properly, it opens up the Meta developing language to a large community of developers who all can build on and work with Hyperon. So this is really, really big here. All right. Yeah. So a few other minor things, but these are the main announcements of the article. So they are working on teaching LLMs the meta programming language to open up to multiple developers, and they are making huge progress in integrating Hypercycle, NuNet, and Hyperon all together. So we hopefully finally soon get a alpha where the normal everyday user can play with, and then of course a beta where people can interact with Hyperon finally. I hope that answers your question, Nani. I hope that answers your question. Alrighty, great coverage. Stop. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you in my community, Sky. Glad to have you here. We are really a community, and I really love that we are a community of level-headed people who have the big picture in mind and are wholeheartedly standing behind the development of AGI in a beneficial, decentralized, democratized way. And I really love the small community that is developing around this here on my channel. And by the way, if you don't know yet, join my Discord. You can find the link to my new Discord channel in the description down below. We are already 5 people in there. Really happy about that. In the Discord, as you can see, I talk about a few things. Here you can also see my portfolio. We have the crypto token discussions. If you're interested, here's my main HODL portfolio. I'd say I have a few other coins and other things, but this is my main HODL portfolio. Then I also talked about how yesterday, when all the FUD hit, I jumped into a short. Yes, Phemex still has the leverage positions open, and of course I'm bullish on the ASI Alliance, but I still jumped into a short to capitalize on the FUD, which worked out quite great. And now it's pumping again. Why? Because Bitcoin is pumping. We'll also talk about that later. But yeah, we also discussed AI topics, not yet, but hopefully in the future. And yeah, if you're already in the community, let me know in the chat. Are you already in the Discord? If not, you can find the link to the Discord in the description down below. And I would love to see you in there. But enough of plugging myself. Let's move into the next story here. And by the way, if you're worrying why I have like this doomsday thumbnail, like with the red graph going down and ASI, and I am panicking, oh God, what now? And my title, of course I have that because negativity sells, right? And I want to pull people into the stream so I can calm them down. And hopefully convey to them that the big picture is much more important and there's nothing to worry. Shannon, you will get blocked now from this channel because you're always here spreading FUD, insulting people, and we don't want that. So I will block you now. Hide user on this channel. All right. And by there, I have warned you multiple times, so I am sorry. I hate to do that. I don't like to block people, but you always get a warning. But if you're in here multiple times, and this pumper, I also need to mute this coin pumper here. Arthur Turkochi, I will time you out. Maybe you don't mean it, but I will time you out for 10 minutes. If you continue this coin pumping, I will have to remove you from the channel as well. You can talk about projects, no worries. You can talk about everything in the comments if you want to, but this coin pumping, just pushing a coin and then making fire emojis, no, we don't want this here. I mean, if you do it once, no worries, but if you do it like this, I have to time you out or maybe block you. And saying that, of course, we can have discussions about everything in here, no worries. Thank you. I'm in crypto for the long haul. Like any newer tech adoption takes time, there are always growing pains. All right, you're most welcome. And again, I'm glad to have you in here, Sky. Good. Again, now let's move into the next story. Let me go into here. So this was just interesting, and I have a video where I talk about artificial general intelligence and what actually is AGI. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend you watch that video on my channel. I think it's titled Beyond the Buzzwords, What is AGI, or something like that. You will find it, you will see it on my channel. It's very recent. But yeah, SingularityNet also made a blog post, The Generality Behind the G, Understanding Artificial General Intelligence. I think this was quite interesting. So unlike AI, which is designed for specific tasks, AGI can solve problems across various fields without manual intervention. It can learn and adapt to new situations independently, handling tasks it wasn't explicitly trained for. Essentially, AGI represents a complete form of artificial intelligence that mimics human cognitive abilities in a broad, generalized manner. Unlike current AI systems, which require extensive training to handle new tasks within their domain, AGI would need no such training. For example, a pre-trained large language model must be fine-tuned with medical data to function as a medical chatbot. In contrast, AGI would inherently possess the ability to generalize its learnings across different tasks. So they don't need to be fine-tuned, they learn basically by themselves, AGIs. While narrow AI operates within well-defined parameters, AGI exhibits broader contextual awareness and continuous learning ability, striving to achieve or surpass human intelligence in a variety of different aspects. Now, a few key characteristics of general intelligence. AGI will not be confined to a specific set of tasks, or rather it can do generalized tasks in all kinds of certain situations. AGI will be able to adapt to new situations in real time. AGI will have deep understanding and reasoning abilities. AGI will be able to apply knowledge from one domain to another. And AGI will have a high level of contextual awareness, allowing it to understand the nuances and subtleties of different situations. So it basically has a real understanding of what is going on, a real understanding of what the world is. An LLM doesn't have that. ChatGPT does not understand what the world is. ChatGPT just makes predictions on what tokens is likely to come next in a sequence of tokens. Again, AGI is a bit even more complex than this article here, but this is a good summary. If you want to dive deeper, I have made a video about this very recently. I'm curious about your thoughts on DOT. I would say relatively indifferent. I am not too big into DOT to have any valid opinion on it. Let's say it like this. I am not too big into DOT to have any valid opinion on it. Right? I don't necessarily give my opinions on everything. If I don't fully into a project, or at least understand quite a bit about it, I know that in the last bull run, the part chains were very big, but they kind of were a bit underwhelming, I think. I believe BitTensor Tau developed originally as a part chain of DOT, and now it is its own thing. I really love BitTensor. I also have a BitTensor video coming up very soon. But no, I don't have a valid opinion on DOT. I'm sorry. The blockchain, the layer 1 blockchain that I'm most invested in and that I'm most bullish on is Cardano, because I love the Cardano tech. And I know many people say, oh, Cardano is dead and nothing is happening there. But you just gotta love Charles Hoskinson. Like, if you hear Charles Hoskinson talk, he has such a great mind, the greatest mind in crypto, I would say. And how Cardano is developed, it's the most decentralized blockchain there is. So I am fully into that. I'm sorry if I could not properly answer your question there. All right, moving on here, and this is something everybody uses in the ecosystem. Tau, my Tau video will just come out. I have not yet talked about Tau, but the video about Tau will come out, I believe, next week. Next week, Tuesday, I have a video about BitTensor Tau where I dive in depth. And I really love the project. It's also decentralized AI system development. Now we can see it as a competitor with the ASI Alliance, but I hate that. I hate to think about competitors when it comes to the whole crypto and also decentralized AGI space. Our competitors are big tech, Microsoft, OpenAI. These are the competitors, right? In crypto, we should cease tribalism. I hate tribalism. We are all here for one vision, which is decentralization, right? And this is what we should all work together on. We should not be rivals and fight each other. I hate this toxic crypto culture. It's insane to me. We should all work together, push each other, evaluate or maybe help each other with our different projects, and all be for each other and support each other. This tribalism is so freaking toxic and detrimental for the whole space, because in the end, we are all for the same thing. We are all for the same thing. Our real rivals, our real competitors are big tech companies like Microsoft, or OpenAI, Google. These are our real competitors, not we each other. So yeah, I really, really hate tribalism. So I also love Tau at BitTensor and what they are working on, and my Tau video will come out next week. And now let's talk about this here, which I hope some of you have already looked into, which is deep funding on SingularityNet. As you know, as we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, the deep funding proposals have been submitted for round 4, and now it's voting time. Voting time for 4.5 more days. So jump in here. I know, Carlo, if you're watching this, you already commented that you already voted. Very amazing. Great to hear that. And I hope a few of you, there are 192 proposals, I believe, so you don't have to read through all of that. If you read through all of that, big props to you, but at least look into it. There are a few very interesting proposals, as you can see here. You can look into these ones when you see like expert reviewed and they have a presentation. These are the proposals. I look into all the proposals, or maybe not all of them, but I try to look into most proposals who have a presentation, because this at least shows me the team behind it is serious and they really put effort into it, right? And if it's also expert reviewed, even better. So if you don't have that much time, at least look into the proposals that are expert reviewed and have a representation, and then jump into the voting of these proposals, because here we really have the chance as a community of SingularityNet and as a community of the ASI Alliance to steer the development into the right direction, to, with funding the right projects, bring new people in, grow the ecosystem, and by proxy also growing our own bags. So we all are incentivized to really put our best effort into voting here. So I'll put the deep funding link in the chat so you can go there, and I highly would love if many of you at least check it out. I see you in the next stream or in the next video, Sky. Great to have you in my community. All right. Good. And with that being said, no questions about the merger, about the ASI Alliance, about anything, then of course I'll answer your questions still. Just drop them in the chat. But let's move on to broader AI stories here. And there were quite a few. I'll probably rush through them because we already have 20 minutes left until the hour. But a few very interesting stories. Let's quickly go through them. This one here was very, very cool because it's completely open source, and we all here also love open source. Hugging Face and Poland Robotics show off its first project, an open source robot that does chores. And this robot is very interesting. Let's first look at this video. And if you have seen like the Tesla robot and the OpenAI robot, it's maybe not that impressive, but it's still pretty cool, and it's open source. Everybody can download the code for that. So let's look into that here.
Okay, Richie, take my cup, please. I'm going home. Thank you.
You want pizza?
Hey, Richie, can you give me the apple, please?
Supreme.
Thanks.
right? I mean, it maybe looks very simple compared to all the other things that we've already seen, but it's still pretty cool. And what I really love is how they have trained it. Now you can see what I think the first thing I saw when I was watching this, why is he shaking so much, right? It looks like he's really shaking a lot. Why you would expect a robot to have just one smooth movement, right? Robotic movement, but he looks like really shaky, which was kind of interesting to see. But what was really cool is how they have trained this robot. So let's look into that down here. The robot was initially teleoperated by a human wearing virtual reality headset who controlled it through the various chores, including placing cups on a dish rack and handing an apple or other object to a person safely and smoothly. Then a machine learning algorithm studied 50 videos of the teleoperation session in VR, each around 15 seconds long, before learning how to do the various chores on its own. So you basically have a human who does all of that, and then the machine learning algorithm watches that human for a couple of repetitions from various angles, and then he teaches this to the robot how to do that. Now, it sounds like a little bit tedious to do every single thing that you want to do, but at the same time, it also is an amazing process because you could just record the chores that you want the robot to do in a household, and then you can just have your own robot who does small household chores for you. Maybe not very fast, maybe it looks a little bit clumsy, but hey, the robot does it. So that's pretty amazing in my opinion. If we look down, first let's go into here, which is the open source aspect, and I really love that. We open source this data set on Hugging Face with Poland Robotics as well as the model we trained and used for the demo. It's all open source. Isn't that cool? Hugging Face's little robot is likely to place pressure on the rival robotics providers due to the fact that it's offering its technology essentially for free. The brains of the robot, at least in the form of sharing open source robotic codes on its community on GitHub. And this is really the huge selling point. It maybe looks a little bit more clumsy than the Tesla robot or the OpenAI robot, but it's completely open source. You can download this code on GitHub and put it into your own robot that you buy or build or whatever. And this is so cool. This is, yeah, I love that. And I'm sure you all here love that as well. Poland Robotics is also committed to ethical practices, ensuring that its technologies are accessible to everyone under open source licenses, producing durable and repairable products, and rejecting military funding. This is also a cool statement here. They reject military funding and make sure that everything is under open source licenses. And then here's another video. I mean, it's clumsy when we look at that, but still, let's watch it. It's still cool, even though it's clumsy. Now you see how he can even give it. He didn't quite reach it, but now he did. And open the pen, which are very precise movements. Ricci is his name, so he writes his own name. It looks a little bit, I mean, it looks better than my handwriting. I'll be honest here, it looks better than my handwriting. The robot has better handwriting than I do. Now he's folding. I mean, having your robot fold, I lost the pigeons there, but having your robot fold your laundry would be cool. It doesn't look like he's quite there yet. It looks a little bit not that great, but he's trying. He can pack your bag. It's funny to see. I mean, it's yet from having any real applications, but it's still cool to see. And it's just getting started, okay? It's just getting started, and I think this is a pretty good, cool start. And you can see him shaking. Why is he shaking so much? This is interesting to me, why he's shaking so much. Right. Robot training here, a little robot workout, right? And this is very, very precise movement here. Fitting a key into a key lock is very precise movement. So it's pretty impressive that he can do this. I think this is the most impressive. This here really impressive. This is the most impressive of all the movements. And yeah, opening an umbrella so the robot doesn't get too wet. Now we all need to understand that moving our hand is extremely, extremely complex. So these movements are actually very impressive, even though they look clumsy, but you need to think it's just the beginning, and moving our hands is freaking complex. Look at all of these moving parts here. Of course, it's really, really stupidly simple for us because we just live like this. We have been doing this for all of our lives. But this takes up a lot of real estate in our brain, a lot of real estate. And programming this is really, really complex. So while it looked very simple and a bit clumsy, it's actually quite impressive what they've done here. And if you want to, where is it? You can buy your own Richie. They have prices here somewhere. I cannot find it right now, but I believe it was about $1,000 or something, which I think is really cheap, man. For this robot, oh no, it was like 9,000. Here we go, $9,000, which is still really, really cheap. I feel like this is a really okay price for this robot. Good. But anyway, enough of that. This was the coolest story, so I talked about it a lot. We need to be a little bit faster with the other ones because we also want to get to our Bitcoin update. So let's jump into this here. And this is a bit concerning. How AI-driven identity attacks are defining the new threatscape. Attackers are weaponizing AI to misdirect elections, defraud current exchanges and nations of millions, and attack critical infrastructure. Synthetic AI, synthetic identity fraud, one of the fastest growing types of fraud, posting a 14.2% year-over-year increase. This is so massive, 14.2% year-over-year increase for synthetic identity fraud. Financial institutions face 3.1 billion in exposure to suspected synthetic identity fraud for US auto loans, bank credit cards, retail credit cards, and unsecured personal loans, the highest level ever. TransUnion found suspected digital fraud in nearly 14% of all newly created global digital accounts last year. This is freaking massive. Deepfakes are the cutting edge of AI-driven identity attacks. There was an estimate 3,000% increase in the use of deepfakes last year alone. Deepfake incidents are expected to increase by 50 to 60% in 2024, reaching 140 to 150,000 global cases. Now, 150,000 global cases maybe doesn't sound that much because it's global cases, right? 150,000 global cases, but you need to look at the increase, 3,000%, and a 60% increase in 2024 alone. This is mind-boggling, and you really see where this is going. So stay safe out there when it comes to deepfakes. Stay safe out there, really. 74% of organizations are already seeing the impact of AI-powered threats, and 89% believe that AI-powered threats are just getting started. And I would believe that as well. It's just getting started. This year was interesting. Despite AI-based, the fastest growing growth of identity attacks, organizations aren't taking advantages of the latest technologies to counter threats. Under half, 49%, are using one-time passcode authentication, and 46% are relying on digital credential issuance and verification. Just 45% are adopting two-factor multi-factor auto. My God, I'm losing my English. Just 45% are adopting two-factor or multi-factor authentication, which is, I would suspect that this grows in the next coming of months or years, because under half is actually a little bit even more concerning than the deepfake issues. Now, we all, or probably most people in here, use MetaMask. Are you using MetaMask? If you're using MetaMask, I am waiting now since ages. I mean, I haven't logged into my MetaMask for quite a while, to be honest, so maybe they have done it for now, but I'm waiting now since ages that MetaMask finally has two-factor authentication. They still don't have it, which is crazy to me and actually really pissing me off. But yeah, just on a side note here. All right, let's get into the next story here. And the next things that we talk about is basically the new Apple announcements, because Apple finally is dipping their toes into AI. We have all been long waiting for this. For me, it was a little bit underwhelming, but yeah, let's look at it nevertheless. So Apple Intelligence first reactions, right? The app, this is the most, guys, how was this meeting? Was it like, hey guys, you know what would be cool? You know how AI, artificial intelligence, has the letters A and I, right? A and I, and you know how we as a company, Apple, you know what would be a funny, amazing idea? You know what? Let's call our intelligence not AI. Let's call it Apple Intelligence, right? It's still AI, but it's Apple Intelligence. Wouldn't that be a smart thing to do? Like, how was that conversation? It's so like, I hate this. I hate this. How can you be so? I don't even know what to say to this. Let me know what you think about the term Apple Intelligence. Do you hate it as much as I hate it? But anyway, let's jump into the story. The company unveiled its biggest push into generative AI so far, a new service called Apple Intelligence. Wouldn't that be a smart wordplay? No. No, it would not. All right. Which will offer a variety of features across Apple devices. A set of features embedded within other popular apps, Safari, and it's basically just stuff spread across multiple Apple devices. Safari, where you can summarize articles, looks quite cool, right? It summarizes articles automatically for you, points out the key points. Okay, nice. Mail, where it can rewrite and suggest grammar improvements. Oh yes, amazing. It can rewrite my mail and improve the grammar, I guess. Nice. Photos, auto-generated photo albums on specific subjects and topics set to music based on text prompts, right? You can ask it, hey, generate me photo albums for this theme. Nice. And messages, where it can create custom AI-generated emoji and photos of your contacts. By the way, the custom-generated emojis, even worse than Apple Intelligence AI. This guy is still here. I need to block him. Right, guy, you're getting blocked now. I'm sorry, but you are done on this channel. I have warned you. Good. Anyway, so yeah, custom-generated emojis, and this name is even worse than the Apple Intelligence name, because the name is Genmoji. Yeah. And overall, I think this is right. If you see here, for some it's very underwhelming, and I would agree, right? Well, yeah, it's in Safari. You can summarize articles, which we could do easily before. Yes, it's in Mail, where you can rewrite my mail, which we could do easily before. Grammar improvement, great. I have the Grammarly extension. Auto-generated photo albums. Well, this is what every smartphone already naturally does these days. So cool, I guess, that now an AI does it. Messages, where it can generate custom AI-generated emojis and photos of your contacts. I mean, yeah, sure, I can see how this becomes a thing. This is kind of cool, right? When you chat with someone and then you can make custom emojis, even include them with this silly, cartoonish looks. I can see how people use that. So yeah, sure, cool, right? But overall, oh well. And then what they don't say in this article, also Siri becomes an upgrade. Finally, Siri now has knowledge across all of your phone, and you can just talk to Siri and tell Siri, to interact with the different apps. This is kind of cool. This is actually kind of cool that Siri can interact with the different apps. So you can tell Siri, hey, put this picture into the Note app, or summarize this article from the website and put the summarization into my Notes app, and all those things. So I guess this is kind of cool. But yeah, overall, I think it's still a little bit underwhelming. One, if not the best examples of generative AI done right is what some people say. And they say this because of safety. Apple Intelligence leverages personal data on the devices in which it operates, as well as virtual private clouds to serve up AI responses. And this is the really cool new thing about Apple AI and its innovation, which is a new cloud. So when we look at that, we have this here, the Apple's private cloud. Apple today introduced a groundbreaking new service called Private Cloud Compute, PCC, designed specifically for secure and private AI processing in the cloud. As artificial intelligence AI becomes more intertwined with our daily lives, the potential risks to our privacy growing exponentially. AI systems such as those used for personal assistance, recommendations, engines, and predictive analytics require massive amounts of data to function effectively. This data often includes highly sensitive personal information, such as our browsing history, location data, financial records, and even biometric data like facial recognition scans. While on-device processing offers clear privacy advantages, more sophisticated AI tasks require the power of large cloud-based models. PCC bridges this gap, allowing Apple Intelligence to leverage cloud AI while maintaining the privacy and security users expect from Apple devices. Now, what is PCC? PCC uses personal data exclusively to fulfill the user's request and never retains it. PCC's privacy guarantees are technically enforced and not dependent on external components. PCC has no privileged interfaces that could bypass privacy protections even during incidents. Attackers cannot target specific users' data without a broad detectable attack on the entire PCC system. Security researchers can verify PCC's privacy guarantee and that the production software matches the inspected code. Now, this is kind of cool. I personally don't have much understanding about this, but from the technical YouTubers that I've watched, this seems to be a cool big deal and a much more better version of a private cloud than we had so far. So this seems to be actually very, very good privacy-wise. Now, how Apple now works, because another big thing is, and we'll talk about that in a moment, is they also have integrated ChatGPT. They also have integrated ChatGPT, and how they work now is in a three-step way, basically. For user queries and requests that don't need a lot of compute and processing power, it's all done on device. For things that need more processing power, it's sent to the Apple Cloud. So this is all privately very, very safe and secure from my understanding. And for very complex user queries that need a lot of processing power, these queries are sent to GPT-4o, so externally to OpenAI. And from what I have seen from some people who have more understanding about this, this is also done in a relatively safe way. But of course, this is where the largest safety issue comes in. But you basically have the three-way process for Apple now, where it first is on device, Apple Cloud, and then for the most complex things, it sends them to GPT-4o. This is how Apple works, or how the new Apple devices will work. Let me know your thoughts about that in the chat. Do you trust Apple with your privacy? Elon Musk certainly does not. Elon Musk threatens Apple, ban over OpenAI integration, cybersecurity experts raise alarms. And this is a very ridiculous story. But yeah, let's get into it. Visitors will have to check the Apple devices at the door, where they will be stored in a Faraday cage. How ridiculous is that, right? Oh yes, let me put my Apple device at the door in a Faraday cage because it is maybe connected with OpenAI when I have a very complex user query. Okay, Mr. Elon. And what am I doing with my Android phone? So there is no security issues with Android, or what are you telling me here? Yeah, I don't know about that. For me, it looks like he just wants attention and it's a big marketing scheme, right? Just for marketing purposes. I mean, yeah, Apple potentially talks with OpenAI when there's a big user query, so you need to leave your phone outside, but Android is completely fine when I can do on my Android phone whatever I want, whenever I want it, and there's not even close to the security standards that Apple has. So what are we even talking about here? Musk's broadside against Apple and OpenAI underscores the escalating rivalry and tensions among tech giants as a race for dominance in the booming market for generative AI. And this is really what it is. It's just because Elon Musk doesn't like OpenAI and he wants to suppress OpenAI. I mean, I don't really like OpenAI anymore as well after the huge safety and issues with the safety board and everything that we talked about in the last couple of weeks. And I don't think that this is a smart move from Apple, but still this reaction from Elon Musk is a little bit overblown in my opinion. Now, one thing that we want to think about here is this could maybe be a similar thing to Microsoft. You know, back when the computer came out and we had IBM was producing computers, but they don't have a properly functioning, working system. So what did they do? They implemented the Microsoft system. So Microsoft on IBM computers was basically spread through the entire world, and this is why most people these days use Microsoft on the computer. Of course, we now have Apple, there's also Linux, but Microsoft is on basically every computer. Now, what Apple is doing is they're using ChatGPT as the AI for their devices. So this is a similar situation. Apple doesn't have a working AI. Apple doesn't have a working AI system, just similarly to IBM didn't have a proper working operating system for a computer. So IBM used Microsoft. Microsoft now, we see where Microsoft stands. Apple now uses OpenAI, ChatGPT on their systems because they don't have working AI. So we maybe could see widespread adoption of ChatGPT because of that. All right. Still 6 people watching here. I appreciate every single one of you being here with me, spending your time with me. Thank you. I have an amazing community. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the like button. And now let's finally jump into our Bitcoin price update. Let's go over here. And let me put myself down here. All right. So, and it happened exactly what I wanted happened, but let's now look at the monthly first. And the monthly, there's really not a lot to see. In the monthly, we see, yes, we are still bullish, all looks good. We never made a lower swing low. We never have been bearish in the monthly. You see here, we have a swing low here. We have a very prominent swing low here, a very prominent, this is a weekly swing low actually. So this is our very prominent monthly swing low. This is our next monthly swing low. And until we don't fall below that, we are in a bullish uptrend in the monthly. Let's drop down to our weekly. And yes, it happened. And I talked about this last week. And I also talked about this in a community post that I made a few days ago, where we reached this fair value gap, and then we got rejected from that. And then we finally dipped down here. I wanted us to see, this is our weekly fair value gap. As you can see here, this week, this is our weekly fair value gap. And I wanted us to see dip into this. Now, I would have loved even more if we dip into this is our daily fair value gap. I would have loved that even more. But yeah, you see this reaction here. We just dipped into our weekly fair value gap and then we shot to the upside. And this is incredibly bullish to me. Now, I personally, down here, once we dipped into the fair value gap, I went into a big long, right? Now, not that big of a long, but because I trade with no liquidation price, but into a reasonably big long, and we saw exactly what I wanted to see, which is our very sharp reaction here, right here. If we would have dipped further here, I would have added on my trade down here. And maybe we still come down here, but this sharp reaction tells me we are incredibly bullish. This tells me we are incredibly bullish because we barely dipped in here and then we shot up. Now, if we drop into our daily here, we can see we formed this daily fair value gap here, then we jumped down and then we swept it. We swept this daily fair value gap, which was great. and which told me that we are very, very bullish and we maybe will not come down here. Maybe not, but we did, and I loved it. You see this big wick here? This is what I love. When I see that, I know, okay, it's long time, because this triggers all people into going short. And what we see here in the daily, or what the retail trader sees here in the daily is a bear flag. And so we have a breakout. Where do people have their stop losses that are in this daily bear flag? Where do they have their stop losses? They have their stop losses right here, or maybe right here. And this is exactly where we dipped. We dipped into their stop losses, and then we saw this sharp shoot to the upside, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Now, how does this continue now? I have no idea. We can invalidate this daily fair value gap. We swept that, so this is all good. For now, we don't have any fair value gaps above us, but we have a lot of liquidity above us right here. You see this? This is what traders see as resistance. So everybody who's going short has their stop losses here, above here. So I would see this as a possible target where we go into, and maybe even crazier above. Now, again, if you want to trade, if you are into trading, I highly recommend you join the Crypto Lifer and the Crypto Lifer trading group. Everything I know, I learned in there. So yeah, huge shout out to Crypto Lifer. Good. Still, this, I wouldn't say this is off the table, but I think it's very unlikely that we dive into this daily fair value gap after this sharp rejection. What I would expect now is probably us dangling around here, sweeping up here, maybe coming down from one more dip, maybe here, hopefully, and then shooting up, something like this. But yeah, let's see over the next couple of weeks how that looks like. And let's look at what happened to the Fed price with the announcement yesterday. Now, what I did yesterday was I jumped into a short, probably right around, let's jump into the 15-minute actually, because this is where I looked at. And I jumped into a short, probably, where was it? Probably right around here is where I jumped into a short. I jumped in short right around here, and then I terminated my short probably right around here. Right, so I capitalized on the market, on the FUD in the market. One thing you can always do very nicely. Doesn't mean I'm not bullish, but short term, such a statement always has FUD of all the hotheads. So yeah, nice 7% movement that I could capitalize on here. By the way, I posted that in my Discord channel. So another shout out to my Discord. If you want to talk about this kind of stuff, jump into my Discord. But then Fed nicely recovered. And one thing I want to show you here is, look at how this chart looks like. How does a chart look like? Keep that in your mind, how this Fed chart looks like. And now let's go over to the Bitcoin chart. Do you maybe see any similarities between the Fed chart and the Bitcoin chart? Do you see any similarities? Yes, the market follows Bitcoin. Okay, yes, the market follows Bitcoin, and that's just what the market does. Okay, all right. And with that being said, let's have one last look here at my channel, where I want to show you one more thing. I make this poll here. What's your favorite layer one? And this is the last thing I want to leave you with. And 34% said Solana. 34% of people here said Solana is a favorite layer one. I'm sorry, guys. I know I also use Solana to make money. I invest in Solana coins to make money. But guys, come on. I thought we are for decentralization over here, aren't we? I thought we are for decentralization. If there's one blockchain that is not decentralized, is Solana. So please think about that again. Of course, you can love it for making money, but please think about the fundamental of Solana. All right. And this is it for the day. We have gone through the stream. In summary, don't panic. There's nothing to panic about. Delays are normal. It will happen 1 month after. I am not faced by this in any way. Let's look into the poll. Okay, we got a bit of a shift here. I'm all good, 57%. I'm slightly annoyed, 22%. I'm panicking, 4%. And I'm angry, 17%. No, that's still 50, 60, 70, 79% saying they are all good or slightly annoyed, just like me. Love you. You are a great community, staying level-headed. If you missed any of that, jump back right to the beginning. I jumped right into everything about the token merger delay, all you want to know. And with that being said, I'm going to see you here on Tuesday, where I have a bit tensor video for you. And the week after that, next Tuesday, I have a timeline for when we can realistically expect AGI. And I'll see you next Wednesday in the next live stream. I hope you're all having a great day, and I'll see you then.